So I've been driving electric now for 4 years. It started with the Ford Lightning, originally a standard range back in 2022. I've since upgraded to the 25 extended range Platinum. We recently added the Model Y for my wife. So this is one of those life lessons that I already knew and have just been procrastinating on. And life has a way of doing this to you where you already know what you're supposed to do and you just don't do it. I don't know if any of you have had this experience where you just keep doing the thing that you know you shouldn't, and eventually it has a way of catching up with you. And so today was one of those days. And so I think I need to just take this as a wake-up call and get my together. When I got my first Ford Lightning, they gave you one of these Mobil connectors for free. So my plan was to take this with an adapter and charge off that connector behind my dryer plug. It's 30 amps. This is 30 amps. That sounded like a brilliant idea. Of course it wasn't. I learned that later. So I had to come up with a new plan. So at that point, I decided I was going to have a NEMA 1450 installed so that I could run off of this plug. And at that point, again, I just didn't know any better. So that's what I did. I had a plug installed in my garage. And that's what's happened ever since as I've used that plug. And I knew later that I should have it installed as a hardwired setup, but I never had it changed over. Inevitably, I burned through 2 of these Mobil chargers, which aren't meant for daily use, before finally switching over to a Tesla wall connector, which at the time I thought was super cool because they had this J1772 version, but I still had it wired as a NEMA 1450 because of the problems I had with the Mobil one failing so often. I had that PTSD, so I still wasn't willing to give up on that NEMA 1450 and how easy it was to unplug and plug back in a new one. So that's where I really went wrong and made my first mistake. I should have had this hardwired at the time, but I still went with the NEMA 1450. Now flash forward to this week when I'm testing out this new home charging station from Iyilo, and I end up getting a ground fault at my NEMA 1450. Now that throws me into a whole problem with what the heck's going on. Now this has a whole lot of smart features and safety features that the Tesla wall connector doesn't have. And that made me start to question what the heck is going on. So at that point, I had to pause what I was doing with my testing and get my electrician out to find out what the problem was. And so that's what I was doing this morning. And we went through a whole bunch of troubleshooting steps to find out where the ground fault was coming from. Now this has a GFI circuit in it, and that started coming up with questions about my grounding and my neutral. This is a 1950s house, and so that also comes into question about how the ground and the neutral is tied together. And so we had to start looking at the electrical panel first, and we started looking at how the ground stake was and how the wiring was inside the panel. And so this is where we started, and we went through and we made sure everything was secure and everything was right here first. As we started to bring this apart, the first thing that we found was actually a problem with the breaker. And one of the things with these vehicles is because they pull so many amps continuously, especially now that I've got 2 of them, as I pulled the 50 amp out of the main panel, we actually found that behind it, you could see the back started to have some seepage of the oil behind it and some separation behind the actual breaker. And then when we tested the voltage behind it, we were finding that we weren't getting the full power out here of the 120 on each of these connectors. So one of these was giving me 120 the way it should, and the other one wasn't. And so we thought, okay, maybe we're getting some kind of intermittent problem with the breaker here. So we went down and got a new Siemens industrial strength breaker, and we popped it back into the panel. And then we took and we made sure we checked our ground, which it said we had an open ground. I have a tester that I use. And so that was really great to be able to take a NEMA 1450 tester. I'll put a picture here of what that looked like, where it had the ground fault, and then I'll show you what it looked like after we tested. But I basically took the multimeter and made sure that we tested from ground here all the way over to the ground point here at the panel, made sure that we had 0 ohms. So at that point, I knew that I had a good ground and not an open ground. At that point, plugged everything in again, but I still was showing an error here on the box, and I still showed an open ground on the tester. So what the heck is going on? More troubleshooting. So we open things up, we start testing with the meter, and at that point we started questioning whether or not it was the outlet itself, which was the last thing I thought, because this is an amazing outlet made by Hubbell. This is one of those very industrial strength. It's not a cheap one. It's not one you get at Home Depot. This is one of those things that you don't want to go and get one that's made for ovens or something that is going to melt on you. I got a good quality Hubbell outlet, NEMA 1450, and there's nothing on the back here that shows that it's had any kind of degradation or heat or wear and tear. But when we went and tested this, this is where the problem turned out to be. So we went down, got another outlet, got it plugged in, tested it again, and sure enough, dang it, man, it was the outlet. So we still did change out the breaker because it did show some wear and damage on the breaker. The outlet, after 4 years of use and heavy amps going through it, I guess did fail. And it's just one of those lessons there, right? That as good and industrial as these things are by Hubbell, they still will degrade over time. And just shocked me because that was the last thing that I thought was going to go bad. And it was the last thing that we checked after going through all the wiring, all the testing, and everything else. This was the last piece. I was sure that when I spent the money on the good quality Hubbell 1450, that this was the last thing that was going to go bad. So here we are. We switched it out, but I talked to the electrician. I am going to end up hardwiring and getting a junction box here that I can use for the long term. I do eventually want to get a solution that allows me to charge both the Model Y and the Lightning at the same time. So I do think that's my next step. So I'm going to finish off the testing here with the Iyilo. That video is coming up this weekend. Stay tuned for that. Check that out and subscribe, ring that bell. And I hope this video has helped you and that you can learn from my mistakes. I am going to correct that mistake very soon. So coming up here in the next few months, I'm going to come up with a plan and think about what that's going to be. I'm going to talk to Iyilo to see what's coming up from them about maybe a Tesla charger for NACS and whether that is in their future. I do believe it is. And I know that they have power sharing for their current model. So I do think in the long term, depending on how this test works out with this, I do think that's something I want to look into. And it's just one of those things where when you know you should be doing the right thing, don't wait, because you just think eventually I'm going to get around to it. Eventually I want to do it. And eventually it ends up biting you in the butt. And today was that day for me. So we got it back working again so I can finish the test, but my electrician is sourcing out the actual box so I can get that on the wall, so I can get 2 circuits. I will still keep a NEMA 1450 just as an emergency backup and to test Mobil connectors and other things, but this cannot be my primary source for charging my electric vehicles. That's not the way to go. Learn from my mistakes, guys. Don't do it. We'll see you on the next one.